Hi, good evening, everybody, and welcome. I'd like to call to order the Monday, January 23rd, 2023 Lake County School Board meeting. Let's go ahead and please rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So welcome, everybody. I see a pretty large crowd scattered about tonight. I know we've got a number of items on the agenda tonight that must be of particular interest. Do we have any changes, amendments, additions, or deletions, Superintendent, to tonight's agenda?
We have a few additions. So the agenda was revised on Thursday, January 19th, to add item 10.06. It's the ALEKS 6 through 12 math one-year standalone subscription. And this item was added to renew and stay within the extension of the period granted. The contracts were added to items 10.02, 10.03, and 10.04 today, and the board was provided copies. There was a memorandum and 3 attachments added to item 11.05 regarding the annual evaluation of the director of the internal audit. And today, the board was provided copies of that as well.
Excellent. So all those board members, do you have any changes you'd like to make to tonight's agenda?
No, sir.
All right, excellent. With that, we'll go ahead and approve some minutes. Superintendent?
Recommend approval of the minutes from the regular school board meeting, January 9th, 2023.
There's a recommendation from the superintendent. Any motions?
So moved.
Motion by Bill and a second by Stephanie. Any questions or comments before voting? It's not seeing any. Let's put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That passes unanimously 5-0. We do have one item for representation tonight, presentation of an award. All right, I see Sherry Owens coming forward.
Yes, good evening, Superintendent Carnegie, Board Chairman Dodd, board members, and all who are assembled. Good evening. Earlier this year, the Lake County Supervisor of Elections Office worked with our high school students to make sure that they knew how to register to vote and to encourage their participation in the process. They shared a nonpartisan presentation, and to keep it fun, they conducted a high school voter registration challenge to see which school would get the highest percentage of students to register. Today, we have representatives from the Elections Office here to announce the winner of that challenge. And so I'd like to ask Supervisor Alan Hayes to come forward. Thank you, sir.
Well, welcome. I didn't even notice you sitting down there. Otherwise, we would have acknowledged you at the beginning of the meeting. Well, welcome and thank you for joining us tonight.
That's quite all right. This is what I'm here for. I'm not here to be recognized. I'm here to say thank you, Ms. Owens, for your assistance and your team assisting. We love singing the praises of our students and our faculty just like you do. And we thank the administration of all our schools for allowing us to come in and hold these programs. The teachers sort of set the table for us, and then our team comes in and encourages all the students 16 and 17 to pre-register. And of course, then when they turn 18, the system automatically triggers the mailing of their voter information card, and they then are notified that they're ready to vote in the next election, whenever that might be. And tonight we have both the traveling trophy that goes from school to school, and we have the permanent trophy that stays in the winning school each year. And so if we could have someone from Umatilla High School come up, and there they are back there. This is the high school voter registration challenge winner. On the back, it says 2022 Umatilla High School, and they are following Lake Minneola and Mount Dora High School, the previous winners. But congratulations. Thank you so much. And then this is the permanent trophy that y'all get to keep, and just share it. Let everybody know that our students care about voting. Awesome. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Congratulations, Umatilla. We have a few cards tonight under public input. One of those is specific to 11.05, so Mr. Yocum, I'll invite you forward wherever you are when we reach that item on the agenda. So with the other two cards, the first up is LCEA. Kathy Smith, is that going to be you tonight? Excellent. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. How are we doing? I just want to give some shout outs and thank yous right now. We wish to thank the school board's thoughtful questions from last week's workshop with the concern on charter schools. You brought up some wonderful questions. We know that the policies kind of are different for our public schools versus charter schools, and we have to follow things, whereas like they don't have to have recess, for example. It was a big topic that was brought up at the workshop. They also, some of the schools have grades of C's and D's and 1% fund balance and things like this, and it's not as well received sometimes from some people. Lake County taxpayer funds go toward the charter schools, yet they never really own the property or the schools themselves. Ms. Sellis also showed the overall high school graduation rate, higher than the average of Florida altogether, which was wonderful. The data presented reiterated that public schools are the best place for our students to be educated. We also want to thank the district and school board for approving the 15% increase to the supplements, even though we still have some work to do because unfortunately there should be paid next check. So hopefully that will be there and we will have everything paid out in the supplements. So it's wonderful. Last, I want to talk about a conference that I was able to go to along with a district representative last week for community schools. It was a wonderful event, and we hope to bring more community school, more advertisements, the parents, the communities, and around, and kind of continue the idea from the mural project and continue on into some other aspects of that. So look forward to having some more collaboration with everybody, and thank you for hearing our educator voices. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Next public input card belongs to Banks Helfrich.
Banks Helfrich, former Lake County Soil Water Conservation District, Seat 1, 9100 Sands Lake Road, Claremont, Florida. Madam Superintendent, Board, newly elected board, congratulations, wonderful. It's a new year, welcome to a new year, 2023, and I just wanted to share with you that I'll ask you the question, why did you visit or move to Lake County? That's, of course, taking in consideration you were not born here. I visited Lake County, Claremont area back when I was, my sister was going to Stetson. I was probably in my teens. I fell in love with the rolling hills. I fell in love with the super cool U-Pick, the vineyard, which is I shot from where I live now. And I ended up buying 7 acres and becoming a sustainable farmer. At this moment, I usually reach in my back pocket, I pull out my farming hat. Actually, I left it in my car. And it is a prop farming hat. It's not the real one that I use. I am a sustainable farmer. That's what I do for a living. And actually, I do it because I love to do it. And once a month, I open up my farm to a farm tour, a teach, AKA school board education, and a taste. So anything that's in season, I do not like to harvest, so I have people come to harvest it for me, or at least to pick as we go along. This is open to the public. This is free. This is complimentary, so anyone is eligible for it to come. It is 7 acres. It has a 76-tree orchard. It has a food forest, mainly bananas. I have a patch, pineapple and blackberry patch. Those are domesticated. I have a wild blackberry patch also. I have a vineyard, actually 14 grape plants that give me only grapes. I've never made wine before. It is the second Saturday of every single month. So I would like to share it with those in earshot, teachers who are looking for field trips for their students to learn how to become farmers. The next one is February the 11th. It's at 9 a.m. It's a Saturday morning. Show up at 9, and we start hitting the tour at 9:07. Actually, this month, we had 16 people weather the 38 degrees in the morning and the wind chill of about 29 degrees. So the next one's 11th of February. 3 things to bring. Please bring a hat. I forgot mine. Please bring a bucket, something that you can take with you, because I give clippings of trees that you can grow yourself, and bring your curiosity. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Banks.
Thank you very much. You timed that very well.
Perfect.
Impeccable. A couple of reports. The first on the agenda for tonight is from the Superintendent Student Advisory Committee. I see Jacob Quinones here. Good evening, Jacob.
Good evening, everyone. The Superintendent Student Advisory Committee met on January 4th, and again, all high schools were represented. We spent the meeting planning for our upcoming Student Leadership Conference, and I'm excited to share with you our plan so far. We decided to name it the Student Government Shield Conference. I'm going to try to name what it stands for off the top of my head, but it's pretty fresh. I know we decided on H is honor, I is integrity, E is engagement, L is leadership, D is determination, and S is slipping my mind right now. I'll let you know if that pops back in my head. But all SGA members will be, sorry?
I just kept saying students.
Maybe it is students. Something like that. All SGA members will be encouraged to attend the conference that will take place on Saturday, March 4th at Leesburg High School. We will start the registration at 9 a.m. and have an opening ceremony with a keynote speaker. We're working on selecting the keynote speaker right now. And we have already open registration. We're each individually talking to our own councils and getting everybody go ahead and registered. And we have been opening it to some middle school SGAs as well. And we're just trying to include everyone as possible, whoever wants to learn what we're willing or what we're going to give out to them. So the day will include several breakout sessions, and each SSAC representative will work with their SGA to plan and facilitate their session. Topics include event planning, teamwork, marketing and social media, sponsorships and fundraising, effective communication and SGA admin relations, school spirit, pep rallies, student sections, delegation, club connectivity, time management, finding balance between SGA and life, organization, and preparing for college. And so each participant will select 6 sessions to attend throughout the day. Lunch will be provided by the Education Foundation. Thank you very much. And during lunch, we'll have a DJ and games where each school will show their school spirit and compete to receive an SGA Spirit Stick. We'll meet again on February 1st to put together the final details and then work together to plan our sessions, organize the registration process, and promote the event at our schools further. This will be the first ever student leadership conference for Lake County students, and we're excited to make this event happen, knowing that it will inspire student leaders and better equip them with the skills they need to continue to serve in leadership roles beyond high school. We invite the board to come out on March 4th to Leesburg High School for this exciting new event. Do you all have any questions?
I have one. Are you including, I know it's an SGA conference.
Yes.
Are you including like, if there's an FCA or a Key Club or a Builders Club, if there's presidents of different organizations and clubs, are they all invited?
I know right now we're focusing on our individual councils, but I'm sure that once we get our own people in, we'll spread it out to everyone else and get them registered as well.
Sounds amazing.
Sounds like great work.
All right.
Wait to see it.
Thank you. Y'all have a great night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Myers, the attorney report.
Nothing.
Nothing. All right. Always good words coming out of an attorney's mouth. No unfinished business tonight. It brings us to our consent agenda. Superintendent?
Recommend approval of consent agenda items 8.01 to 10.06.
So moved.
Motion by Bill.
Second.
Second by Tyler. Any questions or comments before voting? Not seeing any. Let's put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The consent agenda passes unanimously 5-0. Brings us to discussion items 11.01, travel request.
All right, we have a request for School Board Member Tyler Brandyberg to travel outside the district to attend the Florida School Board Association School Finance Forum, February 9th to 10th, 2023. The total cost is $613, and by statute, the public is allowed to comment regarding any request for a board member to travel outside the district when it exceeds $500. So is there anyone in the public who would like to come forward and speak to this item right now? All right, you're good, Tyler.
Perfect. We put that one to a vote.
Yes.
Right, I recommend approval of item 11.01.
There's
So moved.
Second.
motion by Bill and second by Stephanie. Y'all are quick on that, though. Any questions or comments before voting on that? All right, all those in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. 5-0. 11.02, public hearing on a policy as well.
Yes, we have a public hearing on final approval of policy 2460, exceptional student education. Is there anyone from the public who would like to come forward to speak to this policy? And seeing none, I feel it's appropriate to close the public hearing.
All right, excellent, thank you.
All right, I recommend approval of item 11.02, approval of policy 2460.
So moved.
Motion by Bill and a second by Tyler. Any questions or comments on that one? All right, then all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. 5-0. 11.03, I'm figuring we're going to chunk these, aren't we?
There are 26 policies. You want to do them individually or all at once?
All at once.
All at once, they say.
Thought I'd ask. Opening up a public hearing for tentative approval of policies 1120, employment of administrators, 1120.11, preference for veterans in employment, 1121.01, criminal background and employment history checks, 1122, non-discrimination and equal opportunity employment, 1213, student supervision and welfare, 1215, tobacco-free environment, 1231, political activities, 1590, personnel file, 3120, employment of instructional staff, 3120.11, preference for veterans in employment, 3121.01, criminal background and employment history checks, 3122, non-discrimination and equal employment opportunity, 3213, student supervision and welfare, 3215, tobacco-free environment, 3232, political activities, 3590, personnel file, 4120, employment of employment of support staff, 4120.11, preference for veterans in employment, 4121.01, criminal background and employment history checks, 4122, non-discrimination and equal employment opportunity, 4213, student supervision and welfare, 4215, tobacco-free environment, 4232, political activities, 4590, personnel file, 8475, criminal background checks for contractor access, 9200, volunteers. Each of these policies have been proposed by Neola and reviewed by staff. Is there anyone in the public who'd like to come forward to speak with any of these policies for tentative approval? Again, seeing none, I feel it appropriate to close the public hearing.
Thank you very much, Superintendent.
I recommend tentative approval of the policies as stated by the attorney.
So moved.
There's a motion by Bill. Who wants a second? Molly's got it that time. Any questions or comments on any of these before we vote? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Carries unanimously. Bringing us to 11.04, for the naming of the new education center. Very exciting.
This is a very exciting item, and I put it under discussion in case anyone wanted to speak on this item, since it has been truly one of the most community-oriented items I think we've had on our agenda in a long time, because this has been a project that started several years ago, pre-COVID, when the community in Claremont began talking about some of their needs and what we will be doing with the Claremont Elementary School when it closes in June. Is it June? Yes, June, to get my months right. And so, as I said, this has been a long time coming as we looked at what were the community needs and some of the interests that they had, and partnered with Lake Technical College as well as Lake Sumter State College to convert that facility into an education center. And we've had a number of community meetings. Mr. Dodd's been with me in those meetings, and so we've been able to capture a lot of input from the community and build some programs that we hope will grow into a sustainable model. But part of that will be a portion of the building that we will operate, and it will be a flexible day high school program to meet the needs of our high school students who aren't finding either a success in the traditional environment, or who, for reasons of maybe they are working during the day and they need a more flexible schedule during the day and can't be at school at 7 in the morning and due to maybe working late in the evening. So it gives them an opportunity to select a schedule that will allow them to continue to work and meet the needs of their families. So we're excited to offer this. Upon the closing of Claremont Elementary School, we would like to erect a sign that says future home of the Lincoln Park Education Center. And so the item on the agenda is asking the board to approve the naming of the current Claremont Elementary School campus as the future home of the Lincoln Park Education Center.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that synopsis. there was a recommendation in there. If somebody wants to make a motion by Stephanie and second by Tyler. Any other questions or comments? I think this is a very exciting one to think about how much innovation is packed into this and how much partnership is leading to the success, but also there's that community piece that really the community has been very vocal for a number of years and very passionate. We didn't even see the wrecking ball on the horizon on that school before they were chomping at the bit to ensure that we were going to be good neighbors in the neighborhood. And so I'm just so pleased to have their involvement and their support in this project. And so I'm happy to support the recommendation. With that, let's vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carries 5-0 unanimously as well.
And I can say thank you. I know that you were there alongside the superintendent and helping kind of bridge that gap. And I know that one of the things we've been looking for is a Lake Tech opportunity for students on the South Lake campus. And so I know that both of you had great insights and to provide the community. And we appreciate you bringing it forward. It's not the first time we've heard about this from either of you.
No.
Thank you for your leadership.
That's just, what this has been such a big challenge when you think about something so big and think about a school district that isn't funded as well as many of the others are, to think about how can we pull this off, that, I just really just foresaw the day we were just going to tear that facility down. Meanwhile, instead, we get to invest in its infrastructure and subsequently invest in all the people who are going to be able to further their education. So
thank you for
incredible
your
project.
leadership. Yeah, we appreciate
Indeed,
it.
thank you. 11:05 is our last discussion item. We have a public input card on that particular item, so we'll invite Mr. Yoakum on down for his 3 minutes.
Oh, look, he's moving to the timer. Vance Yoakum, 12619 Milwaukee. I'm here wearing my internal audit garb instead of my blogger garb, talking about internal audit because I've been on the audit committee for several years and was the audit committee chair for the last 2 years. I read through all of the comments that were attached. They were only attached, I think, this morning. Maybe yesterday, and when talking to Mr. Mock, he hadn't even had a chance to read them. And so I have comments about these and the process, and maybe to give you suggestions to develop a better result in future issues like this, evaluations. One is that there was no request of him, and we or he didn't think to provide a list of all accomplishments for the last year so that you had that with you when you reviewed it. And I think that that would be my recommendation in the future, is that the audit director, and that goes for maybe other employees that you review, that they are able to provide accomplishments. I have here an 11-page document from John Drury, the city manager of Tavares, and he's got 11 pages of all accomplishments. And of course, he has a staff, unlike our auditor who doesn't have any staff. But he has all these clearly laid out with analytics and a lot of things like that. He does a very good job in explaining what he has done. And probably one of the things is to spend more time. I would suggest with the auditor, once we get the list of proposed audits, so that he can discuss with you, and it takes time. We only got one guy, that means he's eaten up time to audit. And I think you need quantitative data of that, and that you might loan him maybe a retired AP or principal that has experience to do the 2 school audits that I think are necessary every year to learn more and more. These first 2 audits that some people really weren't comfortable with were the very first in doing that, and so they were kind of lightweight. It was to get in there, find out what the basics were, and then be able to propose higher risk issues and discuss them with you folks. And what I've found generally is that you find during those site audits that you find out things that need to be changed at the headquarters level. I found very significant ones in manufacturing companies. I have a whole list here. Obviously, the meanie here with the button is not going to let me talk very much longer, but I would suggest that we maybe have a more formalized process. I'll send you a list of things to consider in developing this so that everybody's more on page, because it is really hard to do any kind of job when you got 5 committee members rating you. And with that, we're going to seek an audit.
Thank you very much.
May I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
I know that this is something I feel like every year that falls off the plate, and then we find ourselves, I know I ask, like, have we done it? And it's been a while since we did it, so I wonder if the audit committee chairman or member, I know, that's why I was like, wait a minute, that's Mr. Benny. Yeah, if in the process of that role, if we could incorporate them meeting with the chair, or with the audit, with Tom, the internal auditor, whoever that might be, in the future, just to set up a timeline each year at the same time to put together some of the recommendations. I agree. I know that the superintendent gives us a list of things that are accomplishments just to refresh, and we're pretty in tune with that anyway. So I think it's a great suggestion, Mr. Yocum. And I think that that's something the committee could bring forward at the same time every year so that it does come up at the same time every year. It's something that we can anticipate. So I don't know if that.
Well, I personally had a conversation with my person.
Oh, me too.
They meet all the time.
Right.
They had the best insight.
No, I agree.
I also will say, Mr. Yoki, we're spot on about putting your best foot forward, if you will, to give us a presentation. And there's actually, in the evaluation, is suggestions for Mr. Mock to give us items, and I received nothing. So that just should be noted. It is there, the tool.
Well, I would like it if that's something the committee could maybe work together on for next year about the same time so that we can be ready for it.
Good.
As the board member assigned to the committee, I would be very happy to work with the chairman to perhaps make that become part of what we do. So I will get with him and we'll certainly talk about it, and I'll bring back to you what we come up with.
And I know that role changes too. I think that's half, if I could be honest with you, I think that's half the issue is that every year we have a new board member that's representative of it. So it's not somebody that's continuously there that can coordinate. So if you guys want to think about how to handle that, I think that'd be amazing. So,
We will do it.
great, thank you.
And Mr. Yocum, we'll, of course, seek your advice. So if you'll be thinking about it, and we'll come together with a plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's refreshing to hear all that conversation because I was hoping that conversation was going to be the one we had tonight. I think that there's some great benefit in having some consistency in this process as well as the timeline. So thank you, liaison, for taking that on. And
I didn't mention it, but our attorney is also present, so certainly we welcome any input that he might choose to give us.
I was kind of wondering because, you know, the superintendent evaluation is done with such regularity. I don't know if that's one that's on your calendar or HR's calendar or your calendar. I don't know whose calendar it's on, but could they also plug in auditor evaluation on that same calendar? And
Well, when putting together the summary for the meeting today, realized that the policy that was in existence, that laid out the review process for the internal auditor was rescinded in 2020. There's not one of the books right now. So that may explain why it hadn't been done since 2019 also. So that's something I was going to bring to y'all's attention was this is the perfect time to do it. Let's put a group together to put a policy together that makes sense for everyone so that we have a process that's laid out so it's crystal clear going forward. And I'd welcome, Tom's input on that too. I think that's crucial.
excellent. Thank you. All right. Is there any other commentary we'd like to speak about before we accept these into the record?
I just would like to, as the liaison, offer certainly our gratitude to Mr. Mock for always being willing to accept new challenges. He just recently took on something, and we're certainly very happy that you're able and willing to do that. So on behalf of the board, thank you, sir.
It's not easy in a department of one. All right. Well, I don't believe this one would require a recommendation from the superintendent since they're our own evaluations. So is there a motion to accept them in the public record here?
I motion that we accept the internal auditors.
All right.
Second.
There's a motion by Stephanie, a second by Molly. Any other questions or comments before voting on those? All right, then all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Carries 5-0. All right, superintendent, we come to your report.
Just a few items to note. This is Literacy Week, so you're going to see, hopefully on social media, lots of pictures of all the great things happening around literacy this week. So we want to thank our schools for all that they're doing. Also want to congratulate Umatilla High School on winning the supervisor elections competition. That was great. And remind everyone, the board, that February 2nd is our Teacher of the Year celebrations. We look forward to celebrating all of our Teachers of the Year along with our winner on that evening when that is announced. And also I want to congratulate Kimberly Singh. She is a student at Gray Middle School. She was the winner of this year's Spelling Bee. That's always an exciting event. And to Leilani Ramos from Oak Park Middle School. She was the runner-up. It was an intense competition, as it always is, and our staff did an amazing job facilitating and hosting that event. And all the teachers that help prepare the students, that's another big commitment and time, takes a lot of their time, so we're very grateful for all that they do to help prepare our students for this event. So we look forward to cheering Kimberly on as she moves on to the state. We have a few letters of condolence that were sent. First of all, to the family of Carolyn Tamika Lewis. She was the potential specialist at Beverly Shores Elementary School and passed away a few weeks ago. Also to the family of John Carr, our Assistant Superintendent of Operations and Facilities, and the loss of his uncle, Clements Carr. Letter was sent to Ms. Debbie Hartog, the principal at Triangle Elementary, and her family, and condolences in the loss of her mother-in-law, Louisa Fussell. Jean Grady, who's a teacher at Lake Hills, lost her son Alex Grady's condolences to them. And also to Linda Shepard Miller, principal at Lake Minneola High School, who lost her brother suddenly. His name is Jerry Shepard. And to the family of Christine Rain. She's a custodian at Tavares Middle School. So condolences to those families.
Thank you very much. And board member comments. Bill, we'll start with you.
Okay. Well, I'll start with the newest issue that we just learned about, which was the governor's announcements today. And I'm always grateful to the governor for his commitment to education and his leadership. I will say that term limits for 8, I was sitting here thinking, once it was announced, that if term limits were 8 years, 3 of us would not be here right now. And part of the success of this board has been the continuity, and that we have that empirical knowledge of what's happened and the way we want to move forward, and collectively support the vision of the superintendent. And so I think that while 8 years may be enough in some areas, it's actually called an election, is what I think is limits people from serving sometimes. When they came out with 12 years, there is a time and a place for all of us, and I think you begin to sense that, right? And that the 12 years, to me, was reasonable. You know, it'll be 14 for me when I leave, and 12 will have been enough, I think. But to say that we term limit school boards when there's other positions in public service that aren't limited, I don't understand it, to be very honest. And I hope that there's some consideration by our legislators not to pass it. That's it.
Thank you. Tyler.
Just a couple quick ones tonight. We had a very thorough workshop last week going through a lot of these items. Just want to give a shout out to Ms. Cockcroft, Ms. Dylan Banks, and their team for all the information they put together in those charter applications and helping make that cumbersome process a little easier to follow. Also want to give a shout out to our partnership with Lake Sumter State College. We approved 3 more items on the consent agenda tonight for more partnerships with Lake Sumter for our students. Just appreciate them and their partnership and all that we're doing to support education in Lake County. Thank you.
I think that it's amazing that Tyler sits next to me and he talks as fast as I do. So I'm
I was just thinking that. That's
I'm
like
oh my gosh,
1,000%.
did I get everything he said? And I feel sorry that I've done that to you people for the last 2 years. So I'm going to try to slow down. Maybe it won't work, but we'll see.
We need to move
So-
the fire extinguisher over here.
I know.
We all look to catch on fire.
I was like, oh my gosh, sorry, that was amazing. I had also, thank you to the staff from last week, specifically Francis's department. I think it's amazing that the superintendent can have conversation with us about what our graduation rate will be before it even happens. And so the fact that you are so on top of that and can make those predictions for us, and I'm sure that that's such a benefit for our high school graduation. I never know the right word to call them, people. facilitators. I just think that's amazing. And so I appreciate the work that you do to calculate that for us in advance, and that when it comes out, it is amazing to me that you are always spot on. So I appreciate that work, really. I think the graduation rate is one of the highlights of this county, and the efforts that you and your staff have made to increase it have just been noticed. And I think, like I said, having been on the campaign trail last year, anytime we mentioned the graduation rate, there was applause. Like, it's a number that everybody understands. It's so impactful to this community and the success of it. So I appreciate your work with that very much. I also wanted to tell you guys there is a college and career fair that a very sweet 17-year-old and her colleagues on the Key Club are putting on at Eustis High School on February 9th. She has done her best to go through my contacts to invite people that are college and career associated, but if you are interested, you're welcome to email me. It's February 9th from 9:30 to 10:45, and you'll have the opportunity to engage with high school students at Eustis High School. And we're still looking for tables. So if anybody has tables that they want to donate or talk to me about purchasing, I'd be happy to have that conversation. Okay. I also want to share with you the Young Flyers program is at the Umatilla Airport, and they had 83 flyers on January 7th. And so we are really working hard, and I appreciate their efforts to grow the program. I know we've seen some huge increases in our aviation, and I'm just super excited to see where that program goes. And so the next one will come. I'll try to remember to say it up here. And then the last thing I have is that on Friday, the District 2A weightlifting, the girls weightlifting district championship will be held at Leesburg High School. So if you want to come and see some like amazing athletes and maybe feel really bad about your own personal strength, you should join us at 11 a.m. at Leesburg High School. It is amazing to see what these young ladies can do. And so that's it.
I would like to add my gratitude to staff for last week's workshop. I'd like to compliment you on your patience and endurance, because oftentimes we're a little slow to catch on, or we may have a lot of questions, but you're always very gracious. You tolerate our questions well, and a lot of you even follow up with answers days later. So I certainly do appreciate that, in addition to those of you that are willing to come up to the podium at a minute's notice and allow us to ask questions. So you have no idea how important that is and how much that helps us to be able to know how to make a decision. So please know that that doesn't go unnoticed, and we're very appreciative. Literacy Week is one of my favorite things, and I can tell you already that our schools are off to a real good start. I was at Treadway today, spent some time in 2 fifth-grade classrooms, and I will tell you it is a wonderful event that's going on. I'm going to be at Triangle later this week, and I'm looking forward to that. So if you're doing nothing else, there are a lot of schools out there that can use some guest readers. So if you have a book and will travel, please go by one of those schools. They would love to have you and have you go in and read to one of their classes. That's all I have.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I'm equally excited about Literacy Week this week. Excited that I think I'm back to health. So I've been receiving all these invitations over the last week about all these events, and it's one of my favorite opportunities of the year to get out into classrooms and spend some time with the kids and read some stories. And there's always a magic trick that happens at the end, so it's really exciting. But in an interesting twist of irony, after doing an entire night of activities about how germs spread with the Cub Scouts, I came home to a fever, so spent most of the week, unfortunately, putting those invitations off until I could guarantee myself back to health to see the kids. So hopefully I'll get an opportunity to go read some stories this week. I do also want to acknowledge Sharon Keys. Where are you? I thought I saw you came in. There you are. I thought I saw you come in. And just wanted to express our gratitude. Earlier, the board had approved the naming of the facility, Lincoln Park Education Center, and wanted to thank you for all the work that you've done as the liaison to the community there, because we couldn't help but brag and boast about the vision and the partnership that the school district and the superintendent have put together with the other entities. And so thank you for being a big champion and seeing that through. So. Oh, no. Oh, no, quite all right. I'm happy you made it. Many nights we would be done by then, but we had a lot of policies to approve. And then, Molly, you just about took the words out of my mouth as you're giving some gratitude towards the staff. One of the big items that was on our workshop this past week were the charter applications. And if you've ever seen one of these, they are not short. I've read a lot of novels that are much shorter than a charter application, and I know that there are a lot of eyes that go into those from every department, because it's not just about the curriculum. Granted, that's a major component, but there's also the financial piece and the facilities piece and the safety and security piece. And there's so many components that comprise that application that if I imagine us having to look at that application without the benefit of the staff having done that legwork ahead of time, I don't even know how to begin to begin to process, all the work that goes into that. So really grateful for staff and taking so much time and out of your day to put together your feedback. Sabrina, I would have never known that it was your first time through that process, so you did very well. Thank you for that. It seemed to be very smooth. And that, we were able to approve those applications tonight. All that being said, though, I always have this internal struggle that I almost feel compelled I have to acknowledge, because I think Kathy Smith spoke perfectly and eloquently on this at the beginning, that there's so many elements of those schools that are outside of our control. Recess, transportation, the financial state. I have some concerns about that if we operated a 0 or 1% fund balance, the state would be certainly looking very closely at us. I think they would take over and operate for us. And so I don't know how charter schools get to do it. I don't know how they get to operate a portfolio of schools that doesn't get to be A's and B's. I think, we would choose elsewhere, if we had our choice sometimes of some of the quality of the curriculum that goes into the schools or there's a lot of say we give up when a charter school comes in. But that being said, one thing we don't give up are our kids. That these are all our kids, whether they're in your school or ours, and so just please take great care of them. And that's it. Any objection to adjourning tonight? All right, then we are adjourned.